just so you know. Okay, whenever y'all are ready.
Hey, Miss Jean.
Hey.
Tell us your name and tell us about your family, your maiden name family, and your married family. Just kind of quick.
Well, I'm Nida Jean Mahan and Guthrie, and I was married to my husband Harry R. Guthrie 65 years when he passed away. We were high school sweethearts, and when we got married, he had joined the Air Force when he graduated from high school, and on his first furlough that he came home, he asked me would I marry him. Mm-hmm. So he said, when I come home next, will you marry me? I said, oh yeah. And so we married. He came home at Christmas and we got married, and we just had a short wedding, and then he had to go back, and he said, well, before we married, he said, I don't know where you'll marry me or not when I tell you what I've done. And I said, what? Mm-hmm. I thought it was something terrible. And he said, I signed up to go Alaska. He said, I signed up to go to Alaska for 2 years. And I said, well, I'll go ahead and marry you. And we got married, and he went to Alaska, and I got a job at the Davenport Hosier Mill in Chattanooga and worked, and we saved our money till I could come up there. So I went up, and we stayed in Alaska 2 years, and my oldest son, Rush, was born up there. Alaska wasn't a state then. It was just a territory, and it was the last territory that the United States owned, and they bought it from Russia, and they paid very little for it. But it was a beautiful country. Oh, the wildflowers were gorgeous, and there were some Eskimos, and we were stationed at Elmendorf Air Force Base, and Fort Richardson was right next to us. They joined each other. And we lived in a trailer park. We bought a little old trailer, and then we built a room on next to it. You couldn't hardly find any place to live, because at that time Alaska wasn't really settled full. Mm-hmm. And there was a Norwegian lived across from us in a little log cabin in a trailer park, and he would grow things, I'm telling you, the most beautiful vegetables you've ever seen in the summertime. But the growing season is very short. And the Air Force was very good to us. And I'd go over there and buy things from him. And I asked him, he had something about that big hanging on the fence. And I asked him, I said, what are those? He says, turnips. They were the biggest turnips I've ever seen. And I learned to ice skate when I was up there. And we didn't think anything about going to town when it was snow on the ground. We'd go out and catch the bus and go to town. And then finally, Harry and his buddy bought a car together. So we had a car then. And we were up there 2 years. And you could go down in the boondocks. That was when it was real. You know, nothing, you didn't see nothing, no, only a little shack or something out there. And you had to stop for a big old horn.
Moose.
You didn't want to hit them. They'd run across the road in front of you.
Big caribou or moose. Yeah.
But I never did see a bear. And one of Harry's buddies was a Air Force, I can't forget what they call him, but anyway, he would go hunting, and he'd kill one of those animals, and he'd bring us some of it, and we didn't have no refrigerators, a little old bitty refrigerator, and we'd put it up on top of our trailer in the wintertime for it to stay froze. That was our refrigerator.
What year what were those 2 years?
53 and all.
Did you get married in 53?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And then Rush came along, and he was born in the Air Force Hospital up there, and he cost me $1.50, and that was for the bracelet on my arm, on his arm, I mean. And we really enjoyed ourselves because we learned to accept a lot of things in our life we never had accepted before. And when we and it came you remember when Washington and all those had that earthquake? I mean it was an earthquake, wasn't it? Don't y'all remember?
Mount St. Helens, the
What?
volcano.
What?
Was it the volcano eruption?
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And everything got as dark and ashes fell.
Yeah, that was a volcano. Yeah.
And it was where we was at. We was at Mountain View Trailer Park right outside Anchorage, and it got as dark, and this stuff just fell down. And my hair, I got out in it to see what was going on, and a German girl lived down below me, and she came up there and she wanted to know what in the world was happening. She couldn't speak English very good, and so we found out later what had happened. And the runway on the airport across from us, they had to rake that ashes off of it where the planes could land. And everything was covered with ashes. And they was kind of warm when they fell too. But my hair, I was blonde-headed then, my hair turned kind of a funny color. And I had to wash all of it out. But we wanted to know what was happening. We was nosy. And we lived up there, and Harry's buddies was real good. They worked in the cafeteria at the Air Force. And they'd ask me, did I want anything? And they'd bring me ice cream and everything out to me. So we had a really good time. And we played games. We did a lot. We went skating. And we learned a lot about that we didn't know. We learned that people make do with what they have. And Rush was born, and he was born, they called him a sourdough. Everybody that was born in Alaska was called sourdoughs because there was no state. But one thing about Alaska, it is very rich. You don't have to worry about food and nothing. And out in the Matanuska Valley, that was the valley where the nurseries was and the milk came from. They had huge dairies out there, but they had to, and when the weather got real bad, they had to keep the cows in. And cabbage, they raised cabbage this big, and one cabbage, I remember we seen, was 50-something pounds.
Wow.
The soil is just black, rich, and you could just raise anything. So Harry and I went out and dug up flowers and Irish, the wild Irishes up there, and we put it around our trailer. And I had all the pictures of our trailer and all, but when our first house burned after we come home, I lost them. And we had more fun, but if you ever get a chance, go to Alaska.
Yeah, it's a neat state.
And my son and his wife went on a cruise up there. But
Can we go back a little bit and you tell me about how you wound up living in the Cove? How?
My daddy, I lived at Cassandra. Well, my daddy on that back valley road that goes to the mountain, he had a farm, 200-something acres. And I lived there until Harry and I married with my mother and daddy. And that was when we had to get up early every morning and go milk a cow before we went to school. And we had to pick cotton just like you all had to do. And my daddy would, and JP, her daddy, would kill hogs and make sausage.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
And I've got that recipe for the sausage.
Right.
And you gave it to me.
Right.
And then I went to school at Cedar Grove, just like everybody else did. That was on school we could go to. And when I graduated from school, I was already married. Harry and I got married. He graduated a year before I did. And I graduated from school and went to work at the Devonport Hosier Mill and worked until I went to Alaska to Harry. And after we came back from Alaska, Harry was stationed in Florida, and they all kidded me and said they sent us down there to thaw out. And after both my boys was born, I went to college. I went to West Georgia. I got a scholarship, and I went to West Georgia. First, I went a year to the University of Georgia, and then I got a scholarship to the Board of Education, and I worked for them, and they gave me a scholarship to West Georgia, and I got my last 3 years of college free, and I was so thankful for that because Harry and I couldn't afford it. And as quick as I graduated from college, Miss Kelly had me a job at Cedar Grove School. And it was such a blessing to.
So you went to the White Building, the old high
Oh yes,
school?
I graduated in the whole old White Building.
What year was that?
Good gracious, I done forgot. It was a long time ago. I guess it's about 50. I don't know.
No, it closed in 50, so it'd been a little bit before that.
I think that's about right. And I went to teaching at Cedar Grove School. I taught first grade. And they didn't have aides then. And one year I had 29 first graders in the first grade. And you talk about work. You don't know what work is, so I had to do it. And I taught at Cedar Grove until they closed the school. And then I was supposed to go to Chattanooga Valley and teach, but I didn't want to go to Chattanooga Valley, it's too far. So I called Mr. Shelton over at Lafayette and told him, I said, everything. And of course I knew him, and he said, yes, I've got a job for you. So I went over to West Lafayette and taught for years until they closed it, and we got a new school, Subligny. And I taught over there until I retired in 65. I taught till I was 65 years old.
Oh, 1985. Yeah.
And Harry, my husband, we bought my daddy's little farm. Daddy sold the big farm, and he bought one up above us. And Harry and I bought it, and Harry worked at Combustion 30 years, and we farmed and raised broiler chickens. And that was a job, too. I worked in a chicken house, too. And Harry passed away when he was 82 years old. He had cancer up in his head. And we were married 65 years. And that was the saddest day of my life. We've been together so long. And here I am, going to be 94 this month. And I'm so thankful. Harry was a Christian man. And we raised our boys in a Christian home. And Harry worked for the community. He did everything he could to help the community. And he used to, when a person passed away in the community, if they was, down and out, and Harry, instead of buying flowers, he'd give them money. And everything I wanted, he tried to provide for me. So I'm very thankful that I know the Lord and that He's led us. And I had a Christian husband. I have so much to be thankful for.
Yeah, I agree.
And where did y'all go to church in your younger years?
Huh?
Where did you go to church when you were younger?
Well, we went to New Prospect, and then New Prospect Church split. And the pastor came with us, and we established Cassandra Baptist Church, and Harry and I were some of the first members at Cassandra Baptist Church.
And then school activities. What do you remember about what went on at school besides the classroom?
Oh, we always had a play, a 3-act play, and I was always in the play. And one year I was a black person, and boy, I had a lot of fun then. And we would have a black play, and we'd have pie suppers. You all remember pie suppers?
I do.
And we would have a get together auction for Cedar Grove School. And when we would do that, we'd go to Lafayette, get all the merchants to give us something. You remember that? And we would have an auction for that. And all the money that we got out of these things went to the school, to help the school. And my son Rush was in the 3rd grade, and the Jordans donated some border colleges, pups. And Rush wanted one of them. He bid on it. He bid $1.50. And nobody else, I knew who Rush was, and he was bidding on it. Nobody else wouldn't bid on it. And he got his border collie for $1.50.
Oh, fun.
And we kept that dog. He lived 14 years.
Wow.
And he loved the farm. And he'd go to the hayfield with them. And he'd jump up on the hay. He'd ride on the hay coming back. And when he got so old, he couldn't do that. He'd stay at the gate and he'd run the cows back for them to come through. And then...
Does anybody else have any questions you would like to ask? I'm asking them if they want to ask you questions.
Well, if you do, I'll try to answer them.
Tell me about basketball. I saw a picture of you playing basketball.
Oh, I love basketball. My coach said I was a star. I was so tall and skinny, I could just run up a storm. And we played basketball, and we'd play Chattanooga Valley and Lafayette, and we just beat the far out of them. See, we played on a dirt court, and we even played with our boys sometimes. And we'd throw the ball so hard they'd dodge it. They wouldn't try to catch it. And we just beat everybody around us.
Yep.
And one time, Sand Mountain come down to play us, and we was gonna play on our old dirt court. And it started sprinkling rain, and we played in the rain and slid. It was hilarious. But we had more fun. And Mr. and Miss Brown was the best principal, and they were so good. They didn't treat us like they do nowadays. We were children, and they loved us, didn't they, Othello? And Mr. Brown would take us in, we had the little room back there, and he'd teach us math. We took business math, and we had problems that were containing to businesses, and we had to work them out. And we had a wood stove, one of those big old, what do you call them?
Potbelly stove?
Yeah, potbelly stove. And we had burnt coal. And the boys, the teachers would appoint the boys to go get coal. And one day James Ramey, you all know James Ramey, didn't you? He put some firecrackers in the coal stove. And boy, I don't think they ever found out who done it because nobody would tell them, James.
Water. Where did the water come from in Cedar Grove School?
They had a well out back there close to the woodshed.
Originally, it came from a spring over in the back valley, and there was a big old tank up there that it fed into the school.
What was it?
And they piped it
What
all
was
the
it
way
they
from
pumped with?
there, from back that far back. They piped the water all the way to, and sometimes part of a little old crawfish would come up in it, wouldn't it? It would.
Was
But,
it a ram
you know,
pump?
we never thought nothing about
A
it.
ram pump, so that was,
Right.
you didn't have to crank it.
Yeah.
It'd flow downhill and then it'd shoot it back up.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they had a tank behind the school. That's how they got the phone.
Alright, say that again, Hill.
Yeah. It's your turn.
Describe-
Go ahead. Go ahead and describe the water again.
Tell us how it worked again.
What?
Tell us how it worked again.
How the water worked.
I'm not sure how a round pump works, but
That's what they had.
yeah, it needed no electricity or no power or anything. And there was a big tank behind the school, and of course that water was piped out of that tank into the school.
That pump worked some way when the water hit it.
Yeah, the water was
Uh-huh.
what made it pump.
It hit it, and then it would pump it up to that tank.
Sounds complicated.
Yeah.
Oh,
It is.
we'll take a break.
Yeah.